The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
No! I'm going down to Alphabet Street. I'm gonna crown this girl that I meet. I'm gonna talk so.
Good evening, everybody. This is Kathy, and guess what time it is? It is time for those flip-flapping F words to fly tonight. And it is already mid-April. Since we last spoke, I have officially become the mother of no teenagers. No teenagers. This little boy, my baby, is 20 years old, April 10th. So it's kind of that little slap of reality in my face just kind of messed with me a little bit. He still needs me, though. That's a good thing. He still wants to spend time with me. They all do. So I did a really good job, I think. But you know what? Here's enough about me, woes and everything. I have a new, one of my favorite F words, friend. Her name is Kristina Singer. Welcome to the F word.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, God, I know. This is so much fun. And I can't wait, you and I, to get into all sorts there sorts of things together. We get, all good, of course.
Good fun.
Good fun. And, there might be things that we won't tell you about, but that's okay. That's okay. We don't have to share or divulge everything. But Kristina, do you want to, tell everybody how we met?
Wow.
And then, because, it was just, freaky, right?
Yeah, it was freaky. We met at a network, through a guy, a mutual friend.
Vernon.
And, and Vernon. And then, I was going to be doing business with him, and I ended up not doing business with him, and I met you 30 seconds at a fundraising event or something, and we met, and it was, it was a good night, but we chit-chatted for a little bit, but then we didn't really talk that much that night.
Right.
But then, I think then I just, that's how we met.
And
but then I saw you one other time.
I gave you my card?
Yes. You did that night. You did give me your card that night. That's right. And then, I called, I remember having the card, and I remember we had mentioned, talking to each other, and and he said something about, because I knew I wanted to put on fundraising events for the things that I wanted to do, and he said you were really good with that. So, and so then I put that in my mind mentally to contact you later. Excuse me. And then, anyway, so then we saw each other one other time, I think a month later at the,
it was the lunch and learn.
So the lunch and learn, but it was put off because of the snow in frickin' Minnesota.
Right?
Frickin' Minnesota.
Frickin'. Yes.
But so then we finally met for another 10 seconds at that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finally connected.
Across the crowded room, I waved.
Across the crowded room,
yes.
Right?
We locked eyes.
But you know what? I really, when we met that time, there was as weird as it sounds, and I don't want it to sound funky, but there was a spark. There was a freaking spark.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I just ran it. I just felt like there was something going on deeper and in your life and stuff. And I love women that I can connect with, that are a peer woman that I can connect with, kindred spirit kind of a thing, to where they get it, where you can look across the room. You don't have to say a word, and what you're thinking about the people in the room, about what's being spoken about everything, the food, the guys that may be sitting at the table with you, whatever.
Yes.
And that's how you are. We're so we end up talking, and, and I'm a huge faith chick, so, God,
major F word.
Yes, he just totally, I care about you, and we don't even know each other that long. I think God puts people in our lives that just to help us along in seasons of our lives, I believe is fully Sometimes people don't stay in a long time. Sometimes they do.
Right.
But especially as we grow older, I have discovered that, especially if you go through divorces, if you go through changes or job changes, the people that you used to have in your life on a daily basis stripped away in a heartbeat because your life changes.
Yes.
And so new ones, those ones go, and then new ones are brought in, and that's kind of how I see this. This is a new season for both of us, I think, and God just brought us together. I think that we clicked, and I'm excited for whatever the future holds. That's all I can say.
And it's seriously, and here's something I want to say though about and so we're going to talk about female, but you know what? You and I both know, because we're women.
Yeah.
The fake friends.
Oh my God.
So many of them. And I've had women, there was this one woman in particular. I mean, I thought, because you know how excited you get when you make a new friend, right?
Yes, right.
Especially as women, because we're like, oh God, because they are so few and far between to have the actual real soul sisters, right?
Right, yeah.
And I had this woman, we were going to be good friends, and we were going for walks every day together and confiding.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And long story short, this thing knew about somebody that I had feelings for, even though I wasn't seeing him anymore and I was just finally in a good place. There was a reason why I wasn't seeing him anymore, because he was a dog. But I still had feelings. I mean, I genuinely loved this man.
Right.
I knew he wasn't right, but she knew
totally know where this is going. I know where this is going. Go ahead.
Well, I'm talking to her and I'm going, oh my gosh, he's wanting to get together, and all of a sudden I'm talking to her on the phone or texting with her, and she goes, oh no, I'm talking to her. She's like, oh, he must be trolling, as you put it. And I go, what? She goes, yeah, he's reaching out to me too. And I go, why does he have your number? Right? And then she's like, well, saw him at this event, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
No, in his defense, he doesn't know that she knows me, right?
Okay.
But anyway, so she's like, sends me a picture of a text, but she didn't cut out enough.
Oh,
because
no.
he was asking her for another certain body part pic.
Oh, my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
I know, and I went.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I right away, because here's the thing, is if I feel like some way about something, I'm going to share it, and then I'm over it.
Yep.
Right? This one I couldn't get over because I didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Because here's an F word. I thought he was just a fling. I don't care. He wasn't. He was an actual relationship. If he was a fling, female code. We have codes. It's like, Kristina, if you say, you know what? See that guy over there? I'm kind of interested. Okay. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. And how many girls, even before you get those words out of your mouth, and they're over there flirting with him, and and I mean, that's so painful. Someone do that after you've been with them. Yes. I mean, that's just something you don't do. And it's just that stuff that those are the things that a mature woman and a good friend, someone who has a really good soul, a healthy soul, wouldn't do that. Because see, the thing is we have to realize as women that and this is where jealousy and competition and comparison really needs to be just thrown away, discarded. Because if you are a mature, healthy woman, you realize there's an abundance of people out there, and it can be when you know who you are. And this is why it's so sad, and it happens so often. Is because so many women and men are again and hurting, and they don't know their true value and their true worth, and so therefore they are insecure, they have fears, and the fears lead to jealousy, that lead to, she's got something I want, she's got something I that's mine, that kind of, and how, if she's better than me, then I have to hate her, I can't be friends with her, or I can stab her in the back. And, it's this continuous competition and it's so icky and toxic and destroys the person who's feeling those feelings and to the people around them. And so I don't have time for that. I can smell it out a mile away, and I stay clear of it. So that's why my circle of people that I love and I trust and confide in is very small. I mean, you have your acquaintances and you have your people you say hi and bye to at the gym and whatever, but I do not. The rest of the stuff where I hold my heart, I protect that because of all of what you just explained right there.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry that happened to you.
You know what? And yeah, I mean, it's so fake and just like very toxic. It's just
And it's such a bummer because, in all honesty, to her too, it's a bummer that she has to do that because she lost a really amazing opportunity to have a relationship with you, and you know, and clearly, I mean, whatever. I mean, it happens, and you know, it's just. This is why I ache for women. We need to have a world of women who are healthy and strong individually, and that they need to know that they are loved unconditionally, and we need to fix that stuff first before you can have healthy relationships, because then you won't do those kinds of things. There's an abundance of friends out there. There's an abundance of men out there. We don't have to have my friends. I would not want my girlfriend's leftovers. No offense.
Oh,
I wouldn't want that.
Exactly. There's a reason why. She's not working anymore.
I was just in California with a girlfriend. She's my very small circle, and I only get to see her like once or twice a year because we have our birthdays on the same day, so she's my birthday twin, and I love her dearly. Yeah, she's just amazing, and you'll get to meet her. But she's got an amazing story, and she's got a beautiful heart. She's one of the few people because I take care of myself. I mean, I'm not the best looking woman in the world, but I'm not the doggiest. Thank you. But I mean, I have to work at it. I work at it really hard. And, but she loves me. She doesn't compare herself to me. She doesn't, and she's beautiful too, but she's not catty. She's not insecure. We love each other. We make fun of our weak spots, you know, but we love each other and we support each other. We cheer each other on in our successes. But one of the things that was funny,
if someone wants help, because I'm going to reach out to you, girlfriend. I'm going to reach out for you to help, to get me help. I mean, you're already helping me feel better.
Yeah.
Just with care, right?
Well, so and that's what we're supposed to do.
Fitness is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all important. There's every layer of us. Is important. But it was funny because when I got there, that I stayed for a few days. When I first arrived in California, it was a couple weeks back, and it was like a Friday night. And we get there and we're chit-chatting. We're just like talking a mile a minute and having, you know, at this beautiful bar outside over on the ocean. It was so amazing. And so we started talking, and I was telling her about these, you know, some of my terrible dating experiences because I'm single, whatever. And just like these guys I've been seeing, and they're totally flaking on me, and like they call and then they don't. They cancel a half hour before, and I'm like, well, that's because they're young and stupid, right?
Right.
I mean, like, you know, they totally lost their opportunity. No, it's so funny because then they're like, oh my gosh, you know, and there's no second chance for that. But this one guy, I did give him like 3 chances. And I was telling her about him because I really liked him, and you know, every kind of excuse was kind of legit, and so it was
right.
You know, they very well could be, but I was like, you know, something's just not meant to be here. Well, I went and I told her about. She goes, and all of a sudden, she told me she had dated him like 5 years earlier.
No.
And I went, oh my God, no. So we like looking at my pictures, and she's like, that's him. And I went, oh my gosh. So now there's no way in hell I would go see her. You know, I just wouldn't now.
Yeah.
I can't. And that's just me. I can't do it.
Even if she said, that's okay. You know, deep down, it's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. That's my rule, just because. I mean,
that's always. This should be all of our rules. Seriously, if you even had a crush on that guy in junior high, I'd be like, hands off. No way. Yes. I won't even know.
Yeah.
That's the way it's supposed
well,
to be.
And she's with the man of her dreams now, so it's not a big deal. But still, I just in my own head, and plus he still has the same weaknesses. He was flaking on her when he dated her, and I mean, we're amazing women. He.
Uh-oh.
So anyway, that's cool. So anyway, I get that it's just that's a golden rule for gals. We gotta be. Oh my gosh, you know, fend for each other.
Fend, yes.
F word. Fend each other. Fend for each other.
Oh my gosh. So let me ask you this. Okay, so here's something I want to know. So here's a good F word. Favorite. Okay.
Ooh.
What's your favorite food?
Oh my gosh, that's not, well, okay, so I eat salmon almost daily.
I just had salmon for dinner. Okay.
Yeah, salmon and avocado is my favorites.
Okay. Salmon. Oh my God, me too. Favorite color?
Yeah.
Favorite color?
Favorite color? Ooh, that's a tough one. I guess types of pink, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, otherwise it's black and white. Those aren't really colors, but if it's a color, probably pink.
Favorite cocktail?
Ooh, that one's tough.
I know. So much
I
alcohol.
love St. Hendrick's martinis are very delicious certain days, and I love tonight I had Tito's and double Tito's, shot of Tito's, and water with lemon lime. But that's because I'm kind of watching what I'm eating and carbs and all that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Pinot Noir, I'm kind of a big Noir fan. Okay. I love red wine, so yeah. But summertime brings in, so many different flavors.
Oh my gosh, right? So now
There's too much.
I'm major Tito's. I like Tito's Diet Tonic.
Ooh, yeah. Yum.
It's so yummy. And it
is.
That's definitely. Okay. Favorite vacation spot, speaking of.
Oh, wow. Well, I don't think I've been to enough places to really say that. I mean, and it depends on, we were talking about the cab, Minnesota has some beautiful spots up north. And, but in California, I was like, man, there's just not enough time to visit that state. We were just in a few spots in San Diego and Coronado, and there's some beautiful spots. And I discovered that, I could stand in the ocean and just stand and look out for hours. And I was just so I'm just I'm a little bit of a dork that way. There's so much beauty in so many spots, and I haven't been to enough places. I have desires to go to many places yet.
Okay,
so.
Well, do that then. What's your favorite sound?
Sound?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Favorite sound? That's funky. I don't know how to answer that. Isn't that funny? I don't know.
I know. That's one thing nobody ever thinks of.
You know what? It could be when I need sound at night, it would be like rain. So
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine is kids talking, laughing. My kids are all really musical. So when they're all together, there's always a guitar or two or three being played. They're always singing. They're so, Kristina, they're so talented. It's just amazing. I just sit there in awe. Yeah. And then they get really upset with me because I'm secretly recording them. What are you doing? Are you taking a video? No.
I wish we would have. Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm like, no, I'm replying to a text.
Right. No, that's so cool. So you need to record those moments.
I know I do, and they're like, quit recording me. What? Why? You want to be able to go back and listen? It's so.
That's super cool.
That's my favorite, because I was just thinking about different favorite things today, and I was thinking about different things while I was getting my shots in my hips. And you're the one. You and Jesus helped me because I thought about you and I thought about the prayers, and I just went, okay, Lord, you got this. I'm just going to trust. I'm not even going to be stressed out. And I was totally relaxed. I was a little tense at first when I laid down on my side. And I went, no, just relax.
Yeah.
No pain.
No. Yes. And especially after your last experience with them,
so everybody, because I'm just talking to you like nobody else is listening, but I had to have steroid shots in my hips because, and by the way, I was told that this is not an old person thing, but to me it sounded like it. I have bursitis. I have bursitis in my hips and in my knees. And oh my gosh, I have this. But it's kind of like my own case of measles. That's a joke for another time. But but I lay there. And I was just thinking of favorite things, just like trying not to think about going into my head.
Right.
Gosh. Okay, so here's something else I want to do now. Those are some of your favorites, okay?
Okay.
Just different things to think of, right? So it's good for me to know you like salmon because I do too.
Yeah.
Avocado, if it's on the menu, if I see avocado jumps out, and I have to see what it's with and go, ooh, I want that.
Yeah.
But here's the last one. What's your favorite curse word? And you can say it on this show.
Oh, I say fuck when I'm quite frequently.
When I told you mine earlier too, I'm like, motherfucker,
Oh,
God.
it's just, I'm working on it. It's getting loose, but it's the worst when I'm driving.
Oh, see, I'm cool when I'm driving, but
wow, I'm impressed.
People, yeah, I'm chill when I drive. It's
wow, that's impressive.
But when I lose my temper, it's like that's the one that comes out first, but then there's like a whole bunch that kind of just jumble in and it becomes one word.
Right.
It's it's
kind of a run-on sentence, one-on sentence.
It is, yeah. And it's like, and I call it, it's. I don't mean this any offense to anybody, but it's almost like a Tourette's kind of deal. The way it just spits out of my mouth, it's like.
Oh my God! Right.
It's like, wow, that just came out, but and I don't mean, it's like, yes, it's a bad word. We don't want our kids to say it, but it's.
It's more of a.
It's an expression.
It is, but I think sometimes too, though, we're dumbed down. The more that you use it, like I was having a conversation with someone the other night, and they were using it like every fourth word. So it wasn't that they were upset or they were using it as an emphatic statement, just to make emphasis. They were it was part of like when someone would say like this or like, they would use the F word. And it was really, honestly, I was annoyed. I started to feel like I was getting slapped in the face over and over and over again.
It sounds like a good drinking game. Every time you say the F word, hey, there we go.
Yeah, you have to take a shot,
Yes.
I think we make it worse than that. Something like you have to, I don't know. I think it's something else. Give me 50 cents.
So when I say it, I mean it usually. It's like, but when I say it too, it's always like, it's funny too. Because I'll be like, motherfucker. It's like when I'm just being funny with my friends. Another one that I use, bitches. But it's always not in a mean way. It's like, it's like, I don't know. It's one of my good friends is a guy, and I call him that. I'm like, what up? But yeah.
You know what? I can't bring myself to do that yet. I don't want to do that. I heard my my son and his girlfriend do that, and they're both 19 and 20, and honestly, again, I just think it's part of our culture, and this is just my simple little opinion. But I think we are better creatures than that.
Yes.
I honestly, I believe our words mean something, and so I am far, 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 far from where I want to be in this, but I want to speak life into my situation, and life over my friends, and life over the people that I love. So there's scripture that says, words have creative power, and when you speak, you're speaking life, or it's speaking death. And we all know the death words, because like any of us who've grown up in homes or had a spouse or a bad abusive relationship or any kind of toxic relationships, where you're so stupid, or you're, who the fuck do you think you are, or you bit, where they weren't used in nice ways. And so what it does is it is destroying that person. And so I don't like to do that. I totally get, that the, people's hearts are in a good place when they're doing it, but it's still, to me, it's still speaking death, and we can do better than that. I think, I love my friends, and I would rather call them, and I definitely am not going to call my son that. I'm not going to call my, it's just me. And I believe that we're divinely created in the image of God. And so he wants us to be oracles of who he is, and oracles of life, and creating life everywhere that I go. So that's my goal, is to always encourage and always speak life, and just because so many people are down. And I think that's just why we do those things. It's just kind of where we are. It's not meant to be hurtful. It's not meant to be whatever. It's just, it is what it is.
You know what, though? That makes sense. So that makes me rethink. When I say it, I'm always joking around, but it does make sense, because there's other people around you, though, that hear it and don't see it the same way, too.
Right.
Because what I might be joking around with my friends, and it's just like...
Yep.
Well, with anything. Jokes, all of that. It's...
Well, even, like, let's say, we could even talk about, like, dirty pictures and dirty...
Right.
That kind of stuff. That should be kept with me personally, the person that I'm dating, or the person that I'm super, it's not for it to come in around me. It's, when friends, when there are people around me start using the word cock, and, it's icky to me. It's not like, it's not fun talk. And so that's, again, I just think that we're living in the crap, rather than rising up to the excellent creatures that we are, the excellent divine beings that we are. So my goal is just to, and it makes me feel better too. That when you're speaking life, you're putting that energy out there, and that's a positive flow, and it's creating life. You're just creation words continuously, and we are created in his image, and we get to do what he does. And so, the only reason is just anybody can relate to it who's been told crappy stuff, because it's really difficult to forget those things, and so, especially too, I see this continuously, especially young girls, when I'm at the gym, and they're just so beautiful, so I'll tell them. And I remember one girl, she was probably like 6'3", super pristine, and she was probably 20, and just beautiful, like this blonde golden hair and golden skin. She was clueless that I even noticed, and it wasn't like I was staring at her for hours, but I just noticed her, and I was like, she kind of took my breath away, and she was so simple but beautiful. And so I told her, I said, "You are so beautiful." I said, "You must have had people tell you that all the time." And she goes, no one's ever said that to me. And I had to stop, and I thought, well, first of all, that's crazy that maybe someone has and she just forgotten. But the other thing is the fact that it hasn't happened enough to where she remembers. Right. And she's not like she's 5 years old. She's got to be close to 20, in her early 20s. So for her to be, and it was clear, it wasn't like it wasn't a subjective opinion. It was, it's kind of like, this is beauty right here. This is what beauty looks like. And so that to me was really sad. It was one of the times, and that was probably a year ago. So I'm continuously telling women, and I just believe, and I want to be this building block. I want to be this woman that encourages each other and pushes each other, because so many people are living under, and we want to encourage and uplift and help them out. And it also is a continuous cycle for ourselves. It's not something I think about. I'm just thankful that God, I pray for it. I ask helps me see what he sees. And I ask that he helps me to know what he knows, and because his people, they're crying out to be loved. They're crying out to have no value. And if we can get more of us to know our value and to know that we're loved, it'll be a cool cycle where we just, it spreads out like a spider web that's amazing, and it breathes life into more people. And that's kind of, I know it sounds, these might be our simple things, and maybe you might think that I'm overly thinking things, but I'm really not. No. And the proof is in the pudding in the world around us.
Well, and I think too, it's, like you being able to say that to her, she needs to be able to say that to herself. That's where, right. Because so many of us, we're harder on ourselves. Right. As women, myself included. I look at this weight that I gained from getting sick.
Yeah.
It was 3 years ago. I was riding my bike all over the place.
Right.
This
is where you need to have grace for yourself.
Thank you. But that's how everybody needs to be, and we all need to work on that, because it's so easy for me to look at somebody and go, wow, she's beautiful. I don't see a size. I don't see know that. I see the person. But that's what, as women, we all need to be able to do that for ourselves. That's the biggest problem for most of us, is we think that's when we end up doing the comparing and the, having the jealousy or whatever, or I don't know.
No, you're right.
Because we don't feel it. And if we had more people, like you walking up and saying, you're absolutely beautiful. Actually being, and not feeling like you are intimidated or in competition with her, just be like, wow. And you might, and none of us knows, what we're all going through.
Right. Truth.
Right? Truth. So speaking of that, sweetie, I want to talk about your family. Okay. Because your faith is so strong. No, it was just your daddy's birthday.
Yeah.
And so I want to hear about growing up. Where did you grow up? Tell me about your mom and dad. Tell me about your family.
Oh, yikes. Wow. Well, really quick. I actually did just finish my book this last year, my life story. I
can't wait.
I know. Well, yeah. It's funny because it's not that long, and I'm like, how do you fit that many years into such a short book? But whatever. I clearly didn't do everything. But, I am a second oldest of 5 siblings, and my mom and dad, and we're all still alive. What my parents did, my mom did daycare. She stayed at home and did daycare with us, and so she could stay home with the kids and get money. And so she had a group daycare license growing up. So she always had anywhere from 10 to 14 kids year round that were not from us. And then we also did foster care.
Wow.
So we had kids come in and out that way. And my dad worked for AT&T forever. He worked there for like 30 years. And so he would go downtown, take his little black lunchbox, and go downtown every single day. And then they all the kids called him Daddy Dave, and he would come home. It was a good life. And we lived in Richfield first, and then we moved when I was like 8 to Prior Lake, and my parents still live in that same house from when I was 8 years old. And a kind of a nutshell, yes, my parents were Christians, and they raised us up in the church, and we went to I think a Lutheran church for a while when I was really little, and then we went to like a non-denominational church later on, and we ended up going, the kids, us 5 kids, ended up going to Christian school for most of my years. My senior year, I actually went to a public school, but
so did I. That's crazy.
Go ahead.
Okay, so did I. Okay, go ahead.
No, you're fine. There's a little bit of a lag, so when you talk, sometimes I'm sorry, I don't catch it right away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse me. No, my fault. I just want you to know I'm sorry. No, so I actually was sexually abused from the time I was 9 to 15, but I always make clear that it was not a family member, a direct family member. It was someone else that lived with us for that time period, and there was a bunch of things that happened, and that. I ended up being like the black sheep of my family because of so much stuff. So I ended up getting, then after that, 15 years old, then that person ended up moving out of our home, and I was able to, and then I just moved on. You're a teenager, whatever. So then we ended up, finishing high school, but my life kind of deteriorated inside. My worth and value was funky. There was a bunch of emotions and fear and yuck and stuff that happened throughout those years. So,
did your parents find out?
No, not until I was 22 years old did they find out.
Okay.
When I told my dad, because my dad and I had a huge falling out. He and I actually didn't get along that well, and I was very, I had a lot of issues just, and it stemmed from that. I used to have horrible nightmares and like night terrors and demonic stuff. And so anyway, and that's, long story short, then I ended up I did a lot of sleeping around. I went to college for a minute, quit, and hated it, and ended up gaining a ton of weight. I was like 250 pounds. And, so I was like 20 years old and just had, I was a mess of a woman and was partying, drinking, and sleeping around like crazy and overweight. And then God, there was in my book I talk about it, but there was kind of a miracle that happened, and I ended up turning my life around, and it was like this visitation from an angel, particularly. And so then I turned my life around and moved back home and cleaned up my life. But it was in like, I really wanted, I was just super on fire for God. I wanted to just do whatever he wanted me to do. But I was still really raw. You know, I had never been loved by, you know, I was still messed up mentally. I was working on that. You know, it was just being healed up from years of yuck. And so, but that in that time period, I ended up meeting my husband, who was going to be my husband for the next 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I met him during that time, and he was the only man who really showed interest in me for more than just a night. And so and my parents were so excited. My family was so excited because I never had a boyfriend. Excuse me. Just, you know, I would party and sleep around. I never really had a steady guy.
Yeah.
And so my family, when they started seeing this guy come around, and he was introduced to me by a guy from the church, and but he was actually a very controlling, abusive man. But I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know what the signs were and all that stuff. So, but found out very quick. We got pregnant before I got married. Ended up getting married, and then for the next 15 years was awful. But then we ended up leaving. Then in 2010, ended up leaving that marriage with my two sons. I ended up having two sons, and they were 10 and 14 at that time. Do you want me to keep going, or should I?
Yes, honey.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, I just want to make sure I'm putting the right breaks in here. So then, so after that, we, and this is all very like super, paraphrased. There was a lot of divine intervention, a lot of stuff that happened. But then we, and even during that time period when I was married, I actually went through cancer twice. I ended up getting lymphoma, which was actually life-threatening. That was a big deal. I ended up going through chemo, so that was a scary time. And then I also had breast cancer in 2009, right before I left, and ended up having a lumpectomy and whatever, and then some radiation treatments and stuff. And then finally, I was able to leave that marriage in 2010.
Can I ask, how did he treat you when you were sick? Was he always horrible?
Yeah. Yes, he was. He was very. In fact, I wasn't allowed to tell people when I had breast cancer. I couldn't. It was very terrible. It's kind of exhausting to kind of talk about it, but he was very. He was mean. I had to take when I went through chemo the first time when I had to take myself to treatments. I couldn't talk to people about it. I never talked to him about it because life wasn't all about me. So, yeah, and I made sure that I kept up with everything, and I had my scarves and I remember when I was losing my hair and I was so freaking scared, and I felt so. And he wouldn't go with me. I was losing it in chunks, and he just sat and I was disgusting to him at that point. So I went to the store myself. I remember being at Macy's or wherever I was, and I was trying on hats, and I was by myself, and I was looking in the mirror, and I would put a hat on, I would take the hat off, and chunks of hair would fall, and I just started bawling in the store. It was so horrible. The whole situation was so scary. I couldn't really talk to anybody about it. I couldn't talk to my husband about it. It was awful. It's still a little bit, clearly affects me a little bit, but,
look at you.
Yeah,
look at your beautiful hair.
I know, God is so sweet.
Wow.
And that's the thing that's so cool about Jesus, is that, I think about sometimes when because I spend time with him morning, I just sit and pray, and I, have my coffee, and I read scripture, I read a book, or I spend time with him. And, all the things that have happened, and I can share a little bit what happened after we left. But God has just been there. We hate, none of us like pain at all, right? None of us want to go through pain. Exactly. And we do what we can. We really do what we can to try and, for those of us who've been somewhere, we want to tell people, don't go that way, don't marry him, he's bad news, and, don't do that. We try to help each other stay out of pain. Mm. And, clearly that's why, the Lord is so good, because, had I known him better, maybe I would have, but it doesn't matter. It's like my girlfriend says, you know what you know when you know it. It's like you can't.
And you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And so, at any rate, and I know so much now. I know him so much now. And as I sit with him, and he's so incredibly sweet now, because I can't describe the relationship that I have with, even though I've shaken my fist at him many times, saying, where the hell are you? And what the hell are you not, why aren't you rescuing me where are you? And, he is here, and he has brought me through, and he's restored certain things, that I'm in a place where I never thought I would be, in good ways, and some of them are scary, but, and that, I'll just share briefly with that is, after we left in 2010, there's a long story. We ended up living with my folks, my sons and I kind of ran away to my parents' house, and we stayed with them. They harbored us and took care of us for a couple of years, and I was able to try and get my bearings, and we went through trauma and abuse counseling for a little bit there, and I tried to work a couple jobs and go back to school and try to figure, because you don't have a lot of time as a single mom. You got to figure out your life now. Okay, now what?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, and I was kind of a mess, but I was, God was good, and he was there. It was always my inside. He had always been there, and it was just directing my steps. And, well, it was becoming more clear that my oldest son, as time was going by the time he was 18, he was really angry, and things were happening, and he was showing signs that I just didn't. And we had gone through different types of counseling, different kinds of pastoral help, and tried to get him different things, and he was struggling in a way that I didn't realize was as bad as it was. None of us did. Mm-hmm. And in 2014, he was staying with his dad, and on January 7th, 2014, he ended up killing his dad, my ex-husband. So, and which was, both of my sons, mm-hmm. It was their father. And so he ended up, that was, that sent us on another whirlwind for the next couple of years. And so that's where he's at now. He's in prison. We are appealing the decision because they gave him, and that's a whole nother story and a whole nother, we're waiting to see how God brings that all about. But they gave him, one of the charges was first-degree murder, and then a whole bunch of second-degree murder charges. And they gave him life without parole. And he had just turned 18, like 7 days before. And but so anyway, we're appealing that, and God knows all things. I mean, he knew. The thing that's so crazy, and the things that I think about when I think about our lives down here, and what God's plan is, and where were you, and why didn't you, and why didn't you step in and save us from all this stuff, and so many people go through so much stuff, and why doesn't he step in? Why doesn't he save us? And there's certain answers to questions that we won't ever get.
Until we meet him face to face.
Right.
Until we're there, and he can answer everything.
And so, and yet time is, it's kind of like too. It's not over till the fat lady sings as well. Because we're not dead yet, and we are appealing it, and I've seen God do some things in the meantime. Yeah. And so things. He's in a safe place. I don't like to think about it too much, and it's still very painful, and I miss my son, that kind of stuff. But any mom who has a son in prison would know this, and actually I have a very dear family, a cousin who lost her son the year before this happened with my oldest. Her son to suicide the year before.
Oh my!
And I think about her every son, because none of us, everybody goes through stuff, right? And has different trauma or different things that they go through. Maybe there are families that don't go through this much, and I know people that have had a relatively okay life. Not saying that no one gets off scot-free kind of without pain, right? But some just have a different life, different story, different whatever, and so I still at this point I feel very grateful for so much, and God's not done. We are in a time in history, I believe, on the earth. He is moving, and he has started something. It's happening. He's more of his presence is coming.
Dude,
more of
I'm
his.
Feeling so much more of it lately.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Feel so much more lately.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's so many different things.
Yep. And just like even these divine connections, like you and me, and just his plans and his purposes, it's like, it's time to heal my people of what they're hurting and tell them who they are. And, he's just doing a lot of really good things. And I'm happy and grateful, even though there's still things that scare me. There's still times where I wake up in the middle of the night and go, Daddy,
right.
Things will happen. But I know who I am, and I know where to go to, and I have him. I have scripture I can listen to. I have speakers I can listen to on my YouTube phone.
Right.
And so it's, there's so much. I'm just so grateful when I spend time with him. That just being his daughter is such a gift, and I'm so grateful. And I only know a very small portion of who he really is, because he's immense, he's infinite, right. He's God, but he's so good, and I want to know more, and I want to just be a part of all that he's doing on the earth. That's what I want to do.
And I didn't know any of this about you until yesterday, and meeting you, the brief times that we spoke, a little bit of time, and just the words that come out of your mouth, and the smile on your face, and the love in your heart, with all the fear that you lived in, your faith is what brought you to where you are today. And it's, we don't know the reason why, but what I know your focus to be is to help. So can you tell everybody about your organization, about what you're doing, what your focus is? What is it that you want to do in directing and helping and making a difference? Because there's somebody out there that needs to hear what you can do and what you've done and how you got there and how you got through, because I honestly feel a lot of it is why you went through it, because there's, even if it was just one person whose life you could change, that was
well, and there's a scripture that says that we are saved by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And that is what has pushed me on I want to say for 30 years, because I've always been a type of person who look at some, how do I get out of the boat that I'm in? I wasn't a big fan of support groups and like the grief counseling or the divorce counseling or the cancer groups, or because I didn't want to talk about the mess that we're all experiencing. I wanted to talk to someone who's been where I've been and is now out. Right. And so I would listen to whatever I could find. Speakers, Joyce Meyer was years and years ago, because it wasn't, 25 years ago, I didn't have YouTube on a phone, or different speakers I could do. So it was a lot of like book work, so, or reading books, or, whatever I could do to find, a story, a testimony of someone who's been where I've been and show me they're surviving. And there's so many people out there you can listen to. There's like, you've got Will Smith, you've got Drew Carey. Not Drew Carey. There's so many people. Can't even think of them now. But there's just a ton. I listen to a lot of like Bishop T.D. Jakes. I listen to Oprah. I listen to Tony Robbins. I've listened to Joe Vitale. I've listened to Bob Proctor. I've listened to hundreds of people. And like even that girl I sent you today, I just discovered her 3 days ago, and she's the daughter from Duck Dynasty.
I love it.
Yes, she's amazing. She's a power-packed chick who knows who she is, and she's talking about being fearless. And it's because of the God that we serve that gets us through. And that's what's so cool. There's just so many, and that's what she tells about, it's these people that go through really tough stuff. And how did they do it? How did they go through it? How did they get from A to Z? And that's how I get encouragement. And, and especially over scripture, because again, the word says that, first of all, that it goes out and it does what it's set out to do. It does not return void, meaning it does what it said. God is not a man that he should lie. Nothing he said, he is truth, so therefore he can't lie. So anything he says is true. And he says that his word is him. So anything is, scripture isn't just a book of stories.
Right.
It's the living, breathing, creative Word of God. So when we speak and pray the Word of God, we are speaking life. We are creating life with it. We are speaking life into our scary situations, and we're speaking against all the yuck that we're living in or we're fighting against, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, that's how I did it and continue to do it.
Yeah.
But my organization is Sisters of Hope and Encouragement, and that's my website, is sistersofhopeandencouragement.com. It's all spelled out. I tried to get she.com and it was taken. So you just spell it out. And on my website you find out all about me. And but I have, there's a video project that talks about, my biggest prayer in a nutshell is to encourage, inspire, and push people into their purpose, namely women of all ages, shapes, and sizes. Get them out of whatever toxic situation, mindset, relationship, whatever that they might be in. And I just started a new teaching series for my groups, and starting a book writing process of toxic turnover. And because there's so much toxicity in what we think about. Yeah, I mean, well, we come against it. I hate to claim that it's in us. I don't want to claim that it's in me. But we fight against it so much. For so many, it's caused a cloud over their lives. And we don't even see it anymore. It's like a fog we walk in and we don't even see it. So how do we get out of it? How can we have joy again? So it's basically, my prayer and what I ache and what I see almost daily, and I love is just when I can tell a woman, like we were just talking about, that they are beautiful, that the lies they've been believing are wrong, they're lies, and that they are everything that they dream about is possible. You know, that what do they want in their lives? What are practical ways we can, what are your 10 top favorite things that you want in your life? What are you dreaming about? What do you believe you really want to do? Even if you're not doing it, let's discover what those are. Find the top 5 that you love doing, and then take 3 steps, practical steps, inching towards doing what you dream about doing, and then just get them in a place where they know that their life matters. My hashtag for everything is your life matters.
Yes.
And so I want everyone I meet, whoever comes in contact with me, that they would know when they've left me that their life matters. And, it's, that is what my prayer has been to get me out of bed, is I've needed to say, Lord, where do I fit? Where do I fit here? I've had, if you've experienced rejection in an area of your life or multiple areas of your life, you start to wonder, well, what the hell? What am I here for anyway? And when so much life gets you down and there's so many slammed in your face, whether it be from relationships or jobs or, parents or people leave, friendships, whatever.
Right.
And so many people feel so isolated and alone and sick, and, especially like we were talking about health-wise. Yeah. Look at how quickly for you spend your whole life basically in shape and living a certain way of just like, woof, life is awesome. And then you get hit with some kind of a disease, and boom, your whole life changes within 2 years, Yeah. And you're in a whole different,
yep.
Yes, and it's just, and how do we encourage each other to get out of those holes? Because there are answers and there are ways to do it, and we cannot give up without a fight. And so we can't do it alone.
No,
we
exactly.
need each other. We need each other to do it. So that's my goal.
You just seriously do. You put such a smile on my face.
I love you already. I love you already.
I love you too, honey. It's just so refreshing, because I don't even know how to see. Look at when I get speechless, that says a lot. Okay. I'm for clown to talk amongst yourselves. But
cute. So cute, right?
It's just I don't think I've ever met anybody with such love in their heart. It's so genuine. What you've been through. There's so many ways you could be, and you want to go out and you just want to give and you want people to feel good, and it's just it is. It's got me all choked up. It seriously does. But Kristina, you are, like I told you this yesterday, you're an angel. You're an absolute angel. Saying the prayer you said yesterday and putting my fears. Look at that. See, that was like tonight's topic. Females, fear with facing fear with faith. That's what I said. But I mean, being stronger together. Women in business. I mean, we've got some really cool things that we can do together. And some strong, genuine, not the fake friends, obviously, but you know what? A big thing, here's a huge F word that I've been working on a lot lately, and that's forgiveness.
Oh, golly, yes.
Yes. Yeah. That's another week.
Yeah, right.
We could go through
3-week series.
Yes. Let's see. Who have I literally, I had somebody from my past out to me. I had him blocked.
Wow.
Emailed me. Said, I've been feeling your energy lately. That's because at church, and we only have 1 minute left, but at church they were talking, and they went like 6 weeks on forgiveness.
Wow.
And I'm like, and it's always something I need to hear when I hear it.
Yes.
And this person got a hold of me, and I was like, wow. And I haven't forgiven to the point where, I mean, I've forgiven, I let it go, but the fact that he felt it, and I was open to talking to him because he wanted to make things right. So that's crazy. So you're a blessing, darling. We need to tie it up for now.
Yep.
You know, I'll be talking to you tomorrow, and I want to thank you so much, and I'd love to have you on anytime you're available.
Okay.
All right, sweetheart.
I love you, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Love you, sweetie. You have a great night.
You too, hon.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you next week on The F Word.